Greetings, fellow members of the Senate. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Memoriapolis. Episode 3, Senate Elections. Pretty soon, in like 1 or 2 more cycles, I'll have the blueprints for the upgraded Cory. Yep, there we go. So let's get that Cory. So the first Cory I want upgraded is the clay one, which needs 15 people. And as you upgrade the Cory, it increases the malice from its sphere of influence. So living near an upgraded Cory really sucks. It increases the amount of stock. So in this case, the amount of clay storage that we have. It also increases the radius of collection. So if you take a look at the building here, right now it's collecting only from the immediate area, but as it grows, it will have access to even more clay. And it also increases its production rate, or its yield. Generally speaking, a few really high-level buildings are better than many low-level buildings. So if you're trying to get a lot of wood, rather than having 10 low-tier cutting camps, have 1 or 2 high-tier cutting camps is better. And we have another faction. So taking a look at our factions map, we have the Scipio family, and the Scipio family likes the... This faction gives access to the Presidium, and they like the Statio and Presidium. They hate the Forum. They hate the hotel. So don't build those around them. And it's the first faction that actually hates buildings around them. So if we take a look at our cultural buildings here, here is the Presidium. And it might not be an unreasonable thing to build next, actually. Because if I recall correctly, the Spartans also like the Presidium. So both of them would prefer to be around the Presidium. So building a Presidium near the Spartans and Scipio family would be a very good benefit to them both. And at least for right now, I'm going to ignore the officialize the city goal and just increase the industry in and around my starting area. Like this initial Cory that I have here needs to be increased so that it has access to more stone, because it's just about done quarrying out all the stone around it, for instance. I'll ask you, I was planning on building the Presidium, and if you want the Presidium, you can vote for number 2. Taking a look at some of the other buildings that I could build. The other factions want the Agama workshop that I could unlock, or another ceramic workshop that I could build, hypothetically. I could also build the Ludus Magnus that I was given in support of the Greek cities. And for that I would need to start making bricks, but that's fine because I'm going to be making bricks here in a moment. Or whatever else you guys want. So I'm actually going to unlock the tilery first, not the brickworks. And get tiles going. Where to put this? Maybe out here in the water. Here, that's a good spot. Tiles on the river. So yeah, the Cory previously had access to about 400 stone, and now has access to 3,360, because its sphere of influence has dramatically increased due to its level. So tiles and a total population of 900 are the requirements to upgrade the next tier of the ancient city. And now that I have a tilery over here, we're working towards that. Looks to me like you guys want me to build the Presidium. So, that sounds good to me. I'll save up for it. My food per cycle is maybe wavering a little bit. The other thing is I was hoping to upgrade the level of the ancient city center before trying to gain access to the Northern Realm. So that the sphere of influence of the city center goes up a little bit more so that my surveyors don't have to span so far. Interestingly, I'm not actually using this surveyor's cabin. So if I don't end up building anything around here, I can break this down and move it somewhere else. And the cutter's camp here is now cutting away the wood around this area to allow us to build over there, which is nice. Speaking of which, I am maxed out on a whole bunch of resources, so let's unlock a new trade route to Wasset. I will sell 300 stone. Can I get away with 400? Nope. 350? Nope. 325? Alright, fine. 300 is fine. 300 stone. And to Sparta, we will sell... 150 sand and 150 clay. Alright, the Presidium only needs 4 more workers, so we're pretty close to getting that. And then after we build in the Presidium, that should manage the satisfaction needs that we have, and then I'll focus on the Senatus and upgrading the city center. Getting pretty close to the next tier of cultural radiance. So speaking of which, each individual faction has their own individual trust levels. So the Spartans, for instance, have a trust level of 67. Scipio family has a trust level of 60. The Tinsmiths of 50 and the Heliotes of 52. Taxing them lowers trust level. Relieving them of taxes increases trust level. And then if you want, you can also expel them. You can always get rid of them if you need. So if there are two factions that are like creating a lot of infighting, you can just simply throw them out. All right. So unlike the other buildings that I've set up so far, I think what I'm going to do is build the Presidium outside of the city walls so that I don't fill the area within the city walls of too many structures, preventing factions from forming. Because the area inside the city walls that have districts and factions produce more cultural points and more gold. So it's a little problematic if you fill them up with like infrastructure buildings, because then you can't actually have housing there. You know, you don't just want a commercial and industrial stuff around your city center, in other words. Can I extend the city walls later? Yes. Sort of. You'll see. Alright, there's the Presidium. And in building the Presidium, as you can see, the Spartans and the Scipio family are much happier with me as a result. Trust levels have gone up considerably. And then my safety satisfaction has been satisfied for the most part. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to upgrade was the Senatus. So I already have it unlocked, so I just simply need to build it. And that costs 300 clay and 30 free workers. Oh, and a new faction. The Collegium Piscatorum. They like a ceramic workshop in Horium as well. Alright, let's allow it. So now we have 5 factions. And any minute now, I'll be able to upgrade my city center. Because we're at population 892 out of 900. And then I'll start to try to gain access to the clay up here. That's at least the idea that I have. So certain resources are in really high demand. Clay, wood, and sand and stone are the ones that you need just like boatloads of. More clay, stone, and wood than sand. Sand you need some, but not like boatloads. Alright, so let's improve our ancient city center. And this will increase its sphere of influence. And then I'll start dropping surveyor cabins northbound to try to gain access to this area up here. Yeah, that's a pretty... Whoa! Look at the attraction level of this district. So this district's wedged between the arena and the Presidium and really close to the trade markets. It is a very pretty area to live in. There we go. City center level 4. And now I can build 2 surveyor cabins, which should get me to this clay area. Because that's what I was waiting on. And then once they're built, I'll work on the Senatus. Which, interestingly, will be the first political faction building that I have built. My, all the other faction buildings have not been political or religious. So we have production, military... Actually, I don't have education either. And commercial. We don't have religious education or political yet. We do have the option to build the Ludus Magnus, but I haven't built one yet. With the other blueprints that I have right now, stockpiled, I'm going to get brickworks. So that I can start making bricks, because bricks are going to be required to build a lot of other things as well. I want to put my brickworks... Actually, this will do. I don't want it too close to where people live. I am keeping an eye on my food. It's dipping a bit. I think it might be worth upgrading the next tier of food farm. Unlike the other buildings, upgraded farms produce way more food. So it's a huge, huge benefit. Just to throw that out there. And the other thing is I could put a farm, like, over here once this survey building is increased. Because there's some nice farmland potential in this area that isn't too close to where the houses are. Or alternatively, which is what I'm going to do, I'll wait and build my my farm kind of even further north in this sort of valley. Oh, here's a new district. That's a big one, too. Alright, so the purpose of coming up here is multi, but one was for the clay, because it's very clay-rich. So, definitely going to drop a Cory here. For clay. And it also, of course, has stone. And then a lot of open land for farming or whatever. Or, you know, another part of the city. Now, what I was hoping is the upgraded surveyor's cabin allowing me to put a farm here. That's my hope. So we'll see if that's the case. Alternatively, I could put another surveyor's cabin down this way to do more farming in this southern expanse. If I wanted to do that, let's do that. I'm going to quickly recycle this old surveyor's cabin that really I'm not using. What's really important to note here is the road attached to it does not disappear. So that's why that's why I was very careful at the start of the stream to indicate that you had to be really careful about where you physically place buildings, because if you place buildings not so cautiously, you end up in a situation where you have roads kind of everywhere. So if you build buildings and delete them, you're still stuck with the roads, and the roads are cannot, at least yet, be deleted. So you can pollute your area pretty quickly. Oh, okay. So we hit the next tier of cultural radiance. So we have the Epitium, which is trust bonus, wonder bonus, and extra gold. And we found a surprising find of ruins. So there are a discovery of ruins down here, and we can repair them for the whatever structure. And for at least the first one, I want to repair the first one. I'm also going to try to move my farms downwards, away from the city center a bit more. Good, yes. So I could put a farm here if I wanted to. I don't yet, but... Did I build a brickworks? Yeah. I have brick income. Okay. So in order to repair these ruins, I would need 20 free workers. But at the moment, I'm more concerned about my food production. So this third farm, rather, is going to be really important. One thing I love is, like, the farm fields and the city districts will fill void spaces. So there was a void space that it would have been really impossible for me to actually put anything functional in there. But it's very easy to just, like, have the farm field develop in there, leaving it so that it looks a lot more organic and land and territory efficient. And I really like that. So now, with this additional farm, I'm going to improve this southernmost one to a tier 2, so it produces more food. And we have a new faction that wants to join, the Carthaginians. So they like Costrim, Statios. They've already starts with a pretty high trust bonus. And yeah, let's submit them. And taking a look at the faction map. So we have 3 craftsmen and 3 military so far. And they're producing a lot of cultural points, which I can use for now to boost my cultural radiance. But they serve other purposes later on. Another thing you could do if you're worried about your food is if you see it dipping, you can always buy it from the markets. So if I worried, I could buy it from Inquinum and Aquincum, and I could buy like 1,000 food or something like that. I'll just do it in this case just to show you. Now we're maxed out on food, and we're not going to dip. Now, if you dip in certain resources, so I'll just tell you, like if we dipped, let's say in food, it would start to lower the health satisfactions. So it would create like a crisis. Oh boy. This bug out? No, it didn't. Okay. I was worried that in upgrading it, it stopped producing extra fields, but no, it's working just fine. So here, as you can see, if I wanted to build like extra ramparts, I could. So if there was a district outside of my current ramparts, I could build a second rampart. It's not necessary because everyone's living inside the walls for now, but it's I just wanted to show that it is indeed an option. And at this point, I'm just going to save up for the Senatus so that we can finish Chapter 8 and actually gain access to politics, which is which will be for decrees and the like. Or actually, what to do first? Senatus or ruins? Both of them require free workers, so they're opposing goals. I have enough workers for the ruins right now, but if you want me to save up to 30 for the Senatus, we could do that instead. And what the ruins are, is they're kind of a random building, like the buildings I have up here. So it's like, it might be like a random arena, or a random horium, or a random ceramics workshop. Like, I don't really know what it is until I repair it. You are given the option to just delete it instead, demolish it, to gain resources, but obviously the resource gain here of like a little bit of wood, stone, and sand, it's like, that's not really worth it. Alright, you guys are team ruins, so let's repair it. Now, the only problem with the ruins is it creates roads where, like, you don't necessarily want roads. Oh, a Domus. Nice. We know what that is from my Lycan Legion series. That's a luxury dwelling for the city's wealthy elites. Now, unfortunately, I can't move these, so it's going to create, like, a very attractive region here, but not one that has any specific benefits, obviously. Because I don't think anyone's going to settle out that way. Alright, now I'll save up for the Senatus. Oh yeah, that farm is feeding us good. So I'm going to delete my old farm that is closest to the town. So that this farm, because this farm is producing 132 food, whereas this farm was producing 60. So we don't really need the northernmost farm. So here it is. It has a bunch of, it satisfies a bunch of esteem in its building. I could pause it, however, if we want the workers back, but I'm going to allow it to exist. Having a giant, like, a luxury dwelling around a bunch of farms feels like, you know, like some sort of lush villa or something. And the fallow fields that were originally linked to that farm that I deconstructed, I'm just deconstructing those as well. Because we don't need fallow fields. Yeah, maybe it's a vineyard. You use your imagination. And I've upgraded the other farm to a tier 2, up from a tier 1. So we're producing plenty of food now. Good. Good, good, good. Well, we have enough for the Senatus. We just need more sand. Alright. Let's upgrade our sand quarry. So that we actually can get... You know what? Where is sand? So there was sand over here as well. Let's quarry up this sand too. My only worry is that this quarry is relatively close to the city center. And every time you upgrade a building, its negative malice sphere of influence increases. So I don't want to rely upon this sand for too long, because it's eventually going to become an area that is we wouldn't want to develop. Oh! Germans are at the gates. Alright, welcome. New faction. The other thing we could do for the sand, let's see if I can buy it from anyone. Yes, Wasset will sell me sand. So I'm going to buy 100 sand from Wasset. And in exchange, I will sell them stone. I'll sell them 200 stone. Alright, so as soon as we have 2 more free workers, we'll build the Senatus. There it is. So this is a political influence building. It will be the first one that we build. And I'm going to build the Senatus right outside of the city center for the reasons that I don't want to monopolize the territory inside. I don't want it to create that road. Come on. Maybe over here? Oh, yeah. Here we go. I'm trying to prevent it from creating like a web of roads everywhere. Alright, so this increases our esteem. Let's also have it do belonging and safety. Senatus is done. And that will satisfy that chapter. Let's look at blueprints. So there's other cultural buildings that I could build and unlock. I could also focus on upgrading my cultural buildings. I don't know if I'm going to have 90 free workers for the Architectural Office Tier 3. And I don't have the resources for the better carver, better carpenter, better tilery, or better brickwork just yet. But I could start increasing the quality of the... Oh, actually, the Cory requires iron, which I don't have access to. The farm requires gold, I don't have access to. The cutting camp requires gold. So yeah, the only thing I could upgrade is the architectural office. So I'll just buy the blueprints, even though it's a very lofty goal because it requires a maintenance of 90 workers, and I have 9. So it's like 10 times more workers than I have available to work. Okay. New senators. Elections have been held, and senators are sitting in the Senatus. They were chosen by the population from various factions based upon the city districts. So if we open up the politics overlay, most of my senators are from the Carthaginian faction. And then the rest are spread out through 3 other crafting factions. Man, those Carthaginians really... good job. So let me read some of these overlays so you understand what's going on. The Senatus is the political center of the city. There sit senators elected from the different factions who can be corrupted. Decrees are one-off actions that apply an effect. The Senatus is admired, and you are respected by all for this decision. From now on, the factions will vie for seats there to wield influence over the city's politics, but you'll have to remind them regularly that you alone are in charge of the city. Why not put temporary measures to vote? So let's vote on a decree. So here are the decrees that we can vote on. All the decrees, the first one is it suspends the effects of faction tensions. So if 2 factions are like fighting each other, you can vote on a decree to tell those specific factions to quit it. Oh, actually, you know, I misinterpreted this election. It's 3 seats held by craftsmen and 1 from the Carthaginians. So taking a look at our current satisfactions, health and creativity are lower than they could be. So let's find decrees that increases health and creativity. So Panem et Serences, or whatever this is a health decree. And I can submit it right now as is without corrupting factions with a 73% chance to get it passed. The 3 sitting senators from the craftsman faction support it. If I click this little corruption, I could then spend some military cultural points. I have 25 right now. I could spend 14 military cultural points to force the Carthaginians to vote upon this, increasing the chance that it is it's passed. Oh, I'm doing this wrong. What is going on here? There we go. So now its chance to pass is 87%. I don't think I'm going to use my culture points to corrupt the Carthaginians and force them to vote in a specific direction. So let's just have them vote on the decree without influence. And I'm going to create it for maximum duration because I have a lot of gold. So then I've just submitted that to the Senatus. And they vote on it. And if it passes, we'll have... oh, I think it may have... Yep, decree accepted. Oh, in fact, all 4 senators voted on it. So as a result of that, we gain access to wonders. And I have to pick which wonder. So, the left one is a building that allows wanderers that surround my city to become more and more present. And some districts would like a safer haven. So basically, it is a city, a wonder which allows us to home wanderers, increasing the city's population significantly. The other one, the mausoleum, allows us to protect a building from the passage of time. So this I have to explain a little bit because the game doesn't really tell you. Whenever you age up to a new age, the buildings of the previous age. So right now we're in the Antiquities age, which is like roughly 750 BCE to like 0 or 300 or so. All the buildings that we build in this age will then decay into ruins. And the mausoleum allows us to protect a building from decay, keeping its benefits into the next age. Also, worth noting, you can build both if you invest the materials and blueprints and all that. So it looks like you guys want the mausoleum. Got it. And it's also worth noting that in constructing this mausoleum, we potentially advance to the next stage, but it won't force you. So if you take a look at the bottom right where the game is paused, we're right now cycle 631 out of 1250. So we're about halfway through the Antiquities age. And a wonder takes 250 turns. So we're definitely going to want to put this wonder down before turn or cycle 1000. But it's not necessarily urgent to do it immediately because we have so many of our cycles left. Because we're kind of ahead of the curve. Oh my god, Yoda's medication is definitely not working just yet. So yeah, that is like the overarching goal for the Antiquities age, but I'm not rushed to do it. I'd like to... what I'm more focused on is trying to get our cultural radiance up as high as possible. Because that is, honestly, a loftier goal. So, yeah. About that. Let's work towards that. So the next thing I'd like to do is to get everything that we need for the ancient capital, tier 5. And this is tricky because it requires a lot of rubbles and a lot of wooden beams, more than we currently have capacity for. So that means that we need to build extra carpenters and extra carvers in order to increase our stock. Which is what I'm going to do. I think the game tries to prevent you from, like, gaining access to a tier 5 ancient city because of the stockpile restrictions, but, like, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. So this was a carver. So let's get another carpenter up here. And I'm putting it up here just so that it's not near a city center. So that it's not area of effect restricted or anything like that. So I'm going to hide this Order of Wonder. I'm not worried about that. Our satisfaction, we're meeting a lot of the satisfaction needs. I think what might be nice is for us to also build a Ludus Magnus. Because that will increase the creativity need, which is the only one that is really lagging behind right now. So in building this carpenter, I've increased the stocks of wooden beams by 50, but I'm pausing it because I don't want anyone working on it. Basically, I'm using these as like warehouses. This is to say it's a little bit of an exploit. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit of an exploit to be able to like increase your stockpile for a specific resource without demanding a change in workforce. But it's the only way I know how to upgrade the ancient capital, because the ancient capital requires almost 400 rubbles, but I only have space for 325. So, you know, we got to do this weird workaround trick in order to get there. So let's keep doing this weird workaround trick. Another carver. And then the ancient capital requires 321 beams, which I already have capacity for. So I don't need to make any more carpenters, just carvers. A bunch of empty carvers where we can store carved up stone. And I think, well, I think this will reach us to 370. No, this will be enough. Yeah, these carvers will be enough. As you can see, my stockpile max doesn't change when I pause it. Oh, we have a new faction. Oh, hoplites. Welcome, hoplites. Might as well actually leave these running for now, just to get those rubbles. So now we have enough capacity for an ancient capital. So then the other goal is to get 2k people, which is going to happen over time. I can pause these for now and focus on the 2k people. Alright, we have 37 extra workers. That's not enough for the next tier architectural office. But in order to try to grow our town more, I did mention wanting the Ludus Magnus. So let's stick a Ludus Magnus in here. And I'm going to try to put it, yeah, maybe over here. It's a smaller building, so I'm going to put it intentionally within the walls. It increases creativity, and I'm going to also have it boost safety. Hoping that this will become housing districts for intellectuals. That's the hope. Ooh, good. This cutting camp is really clear cutting. Awesome. So other blueprints to upgrade. There's not much point in upgrading any of the production facilities because they require resources I don't have access to. So it would be mostly cultural buildings. So I think I'm going to have you guys vote on next cultural buildings for me to focus on. Because all of the production and service buildings are kind of maxed out. So next cultural building will be up to you. So if we take a look at the faction map, our factions are... So we have a culturalist district here. So I could put a culture building adjacent to this district to influence that district. By putting it outside of the walls. But yeah, in terms of the buildings that we actually have so far, we have one military building, 2 military buildings. We have 3 military buildings. We have a craft building. We actually have a surprisingly lack of craft buildings, given the amount of craftsmen. But, you know, c'est la vie. Yeah, here's a better look. And then we have the educational building, or philosopher building. Technically, this is a cultural building down here as well, a political one, but like it's too far away to really have any sorts of influence. What's interesting if we look at the attraction map is it is an attractive place to live. It's just not more attractive than within the town walls, so like nobody's bothering to move out there. I could put a bunch of decorations out here to try to... You know, I've never done that. I'm going to try it just as like pure curiosity if I can influence there to be housing outside of the city walls. Because if we do that and it works, I could always create a new rampart to enclose it, right? I could update the ramparts and get a wall out there, I think. Well, maybe not. I don't see the ramparts tool creating a new wall, but whatever. It doesn't matter if they're within the ramparts or not to me. Thank you for tuning in to Memoriapolis, which originally streamed live on Twitch September 11th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow residents of Memoriapolis.